Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Fear the Queer.
A show that talks about everything on our queer agendas. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Joshua.
Hi,
And
Joshua.
Hi. And on today's episode, we are giving you another movie list here. Woo! But last time we did this, we did everything Pride themed. So it was great films like Adventures of Priscilla, Pride, the movie Pride, and stuff like that.
Pride, the movie Pride.
Right? Oh my God, I wish that was actually what it was called. Pride, the movie Pride. But on today's episode, we're going to get a little spookier here. We are going to be giving you 5 different queer-based films to watch during spooky Halloween season.
Yes, and honestly, we're going to tell you about what's going on with this spooky movies because we've watched them, and then we're going to fear it or queer it for ourselves. But we'll let the audience decide. We're going to tell you where you can watch these films, and you can tell us: do you fear it? Do you queer it? Have maybe you seen these before? And, you know, you'll have plenty of time because we just started spooky season. It just started October. So I haven't seen many pumpkins out on the front porch just yet.
I know. You know what's crazy too is that I'm super into Halloween and, you know, I like decorating.
You don't say.
Shut up. But all of my neighbors have completely outdid me already. Like all their Halloween spooky season like decorations are out and ready and stuff like that. I haven't even looked through any of my stuff yet to look. I just must be not really into it compared to my Lincoln Square neighbors here.
Well, they got the money. I love it. So I was at this fancy store called the Dollar Store yesterday, and I was
go on.
I know. I was looking for some fall decorations. So I was in line and I heard someone say to someone else, like, "Hey, Joanna, do you know where the witches' sticks are?" And the other one goes, "You mean brooms?"
Witches' sticks?
Yeah, I really liked that. I liked that a lot. It was my first favorite thing I heard at the Dollar Store, only followed by these two guys talking. And the one like being like, "Oh, we should go do this, we should go do that." And the friend was like, "I'm not feeling it. I don't really want to." And the guy goes, "Oh, don't tell me you actually believe all that Mercury in retrograde stuff." And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "Never mind." It was pretty funny. I was like, that sounds like something from a movie, like a line from a movie. Like, "Don't tell me you actually believe that Mercury in retrograde stuff." The what? Never mind.
Never mind. Like, and just keeps going. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's pretty funny.
I do think witches sticks would be a great like snack, and it's just like pretzels, and it's just like little witches sticks, but it's like shaped like broomsticks.
Oh. So it's a pretzel, but what would be the bottom?
Like it would just be like a little bunch of pretzels, like attached to the bottom. Yeah, like 3 of them, glued. Glued together by like cheese.
So it's a big stick, a big pretzel stick with a bunch of tiny pretzel sticks underneath it.
Yeah.
Or you could do a big pretzel
sauce.
stick. You could do a big pretzel stick, and then have the bottom. You could draw like the bottom of the broom in Cheese Whiz.
Ooh, okay.
And then you could just dip it and eat and dip it and eat.
You know, I haven't had Cheese Whiz in years.
Upgraded. Actually, I haven't had Cheese Whiz in years.
Right? Anyway, we're getting off topic here. So before we get into the queer agenda today, we are going to be doing another segment of Can You Keep Up? In which we talk about all the hot gossip that has happened this past week here and give our opinions on what we think of it here. So Kyle, are you ready to fear to queer it?
I guess so. Can I just say we did not do a cheers queers?
Oh yes. Cheers, queers. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking my Trenta Starbies.
And I'm drinking my Monster Energy. So
always coming for my gig.
Right. It's funny how I must have gotten addicted to these while recording the podcast, because I used to just do it so that way I could have like an energy booster. But now I'm just like, this makes me feel good. I'm gonna keep doing this.
I feel so alive. Because you're drinking like a Monster. Oh, you did the mash. You did the Monster mash. Cheers, queers.
Cheers, queers. All right. So first on our little agenda today here is, if you were on anything like on Monday, October 4th to be exact here,
Was I
you would
on
probably,
it? You mean like rolling? Was I
yeah,
on drugs?
I
Are
mean,
you
maybe
accusing me of
rolling down the
something?
river.
Rolling down the hill?
Yeah.
I made a deal with God. I was
There you
running up
go.
that hill.
Yeah. But in case you, I guess, didn't notice, Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp were down for roughly about 5+ hours here, all because Facebook Incorporation, I guess, had this major meltdown here. Um, I don't know why, but the world went wild over it for it being down for 5+ hours here. A lot of people flocked to Twitter to like compensate. And I immediately the next day here, it's so funny. All these social media sites that were down then started to release think pieces on how much we rely on social media and what does this mean for us in the future here, which because of the fact that we're already in a global pandemic, the next thing we really need to worry about is the fact that, social media might be crumbling around us too. So,
Well, kinda.
yeah. So I guess there's two sides of arguments. One is the argument of just like, it's just social media. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to log on. You don't have to be a part of this. If you say, oh, it was so nice to have a break from social media, no one's forcing you to be on it. The other
Right.
side of it is that people are saying, well, people in less developed countries rely on social media way more than we do in the fact of like survival in a way. Some of these websites like Instagram and Facebook help people stay connected in ways that they probably couldn't otherwise in their country. There's also things of like organizations or small businesses that can help other people that rely on social media to get them through here. So that also comes into play of just like, well, how is that going to affect us? And then on top of it all, shout out to AOC for saying this. It's just like, but why does Facebook own all of these huge platforms here? And should we trust a company to run all of this here? Kyle, what are your thoughts on all this?
Okay, let's break it down. Here's the thing. I think that like did I well now that is Josh is dancing now. That is
You said break it
that's a
down.
breakdown. If you keep having your version of a breakdown, I'm gonna have my version of a breakdown on this, and the tears start coming and they don't stop coming. But then you get running, and you can see the rest of that on my social media that you can't post to. So here's the thing. I feel like yeah, people being like, oh, it was so nice to have a break. Yeah, you can hypothetically not log into a social media account. Like you don't have to be connected. That's fine. I do think, however, that we do rely on so much and are so used to, and then having it kind of just like gone. I was like, is this it? Like I was like more so bummed, just not really Facebook, but Instagram, because I was like, I like going on Instagram less for like other people's stuff, but I like how my page is curated. I like how it looks. I do like seeing what other people do. And to have that not up and running did not completely ruin my day. But it was like a weird couple hours. I actually had a friend, you know who this is.
You had a friend.
I had a friend. I told you it's spooky season. It's a very scary story. Me with a friend.
Were they conjured during this downtime?
It kind of felt like it. Because he definitely came out of nowhere. And he messaged me because he works at Facebook now. And he was like, oh my God, I have some tea on what's going on with Facebook.
Oh.
And I'm going to reveal to you now what it was.
Go on, sis. Go off.
He said that the IP address just wasn't found.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Oh. Here I was thinking that there was like, I don't know, that Facebook whistleblower going in and like hacking everything.
Like Russian interference. Yeah, no, it sounds a lot less complicated, but I do think it is kind of alarming that one company owns so much of social media. And it kind of has a monopoly on the market. It's a weird thing. I do think it was my favorite part of the day was logging into Twitter and seeing how many of like the Instagays from Instagram had just like rushed to Twitter to take shirtless pics and be like, validate me.
Right.
That was pretty funny. I liked that. It was
Funny enough, I actually did post something yesterday on Twitter.
Did you really?
No.
I was gonna say you're never on Twitter.
No, I'm hardly ever on Twitter, which makes you think that I am part of the old generation. The fact that I do rely on Facebook and Instagram more for self-pleasure than Twitter and TikTok, which I feel like are the young kids' vibes.
Oh yeah, I guess TikTok is a thing. TikTok, that's a weird one because like I'll log in, I'll post I say I log in as if I don't have the app on my phone, but
Right.
I'll go on the app.
I'll dial it up.
I had that until I was 18, 19 years old. I had dial up.
Wow. So that was like what, up until 2001, right?
That's not that old. That's like your fiance's age.
I know.
So what are you saying about us?
I'm saying you're both old.
And you're the one who doesn't know how to use Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, TikTok. Sorry, this grandma's gotten loopy. No, on TikTok, I'll just like go post a video and then I just don't look at anything because I'll go down that rabbit hole. I'll be on there all day. I get confused. And also people are like really mean. I don't
really.
Oh, they say like, they're just like, this is stupid. I hate that. Like the comments are just so ridiculous. Probably because it is a lot of children and children's brains are underdeveloped.
That is true. That being said, though, there are people on there that I'll be watching and they're like, of course, they're all beautiful looking. They're like shirtless or they have like makeup done for the gods and stuff like that. And then I look at like, and they're like, oh, I'm 19, I'm 20, I'm like 16. I'm like, ah! I was like, I wish I looked like that at that age. I was like a little gremlin running around.
Is I think that social media being down for the day, it wasn't the end of the world, but I do think that if you were to get rid of social media nowadays, I think it as a society, I don't think we would know what to do. I think it's become so intertwined in how we live our day-to-day lives and how a lot of businesses work, a lot of people connect to their friends and family. I think that it would not be good. I think it would be really bad.
Well, I mean, it might be the next catastrophic thing that's going to happen soon. After COVID-19, we're going to have social media just completely break down here.
Now, why would you wish that? I don't want that. That's
I didn't
terrible.
say I wished it. I'm just saying I can see it happening.
You heard it here, everyone. Josh said he wants Instagram and he wants all social media down. He wants the world to burn. He wants everyone to be sad. You heard it here. I heard it. That's what I've been told. I'm very perceptive because I am a Pisces rising. So I'm reading between the lines.
Yes. Critically reviewed person Kyle Parker intuitively states.
I intuitively stated, I think bad things will happen.
Yeah, I mean, knowing how this world is working right now, I don't hold it against it. Like I'm sure it probably will happen here.
Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah, and when they say retrograde, they mean, oh, it's a retrograde. But speaking of retrograde, we're going to switch to another topic that might help us out of this retrograde here.
Okay.
Yeah, so over this past weekend, mysterious billboards were seen all over across the world.
Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Frances McDormand was just like, who the fuck painted over my signs?
And it ended up being fellow Oscar winner Adele Weiss. I mean, not Adele Weiss.
You wish.
I wish. Just Adele.
No, just Adele. Adele is suddenly announcing her return. These billboards simply stated 30, which at first, if I would have seen that billboard, I would have not have connected anything. I would have just been like, the fuck is that? But Adele's fans, quick on the case, were just like, oh my God, a new era is coming. And then during the social media lockdown on Monday, Adele came back to Twitter to announce her return, saying hello to everybody, and then releasing a 15-second snippet of her new song, Easy on Me, which will be released on Friday, October 15th.
Yeah, she actually said, hello, it's me. I
I
was
was
wondering.
wondering.
I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you like Adele?
I do like Adele. Okay, so I have had a controversial opinion about this.
Not
So
a surprise, you with a controversial opinion. Please go ahead and spill.
I know. It always happens here. So when she made her announcement, and this was back when Instagram was working again, I reposted the clip that she made, and I just put, hopefully this is better than 25. Because in my honest opinion, I don't think 25 was it. I thought it was kind of boring. I didn't like the fact that some of the songs just all sounded the same. And there was a lot, like, that came out in like late 2015, and then it was like in 2016. 2016, I would argue, it had some of the best music like of all time. Like you had Beyonce's Lemonade, you had Rihanna's Anti, you had Drake, you had Chance the Rapper. Like so many good albums came out that year. And for whatever reason, everyone's just like, oh, I just love the moodiness of Adele. I didn't love it. Anyway, so because I posted that, about 3 or 4 people came for me. They're just like, oh, yeah, sorry, you mean album of the year winner 25? Oh, you don't like Adele? Blah, 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 blah. I was just like, well, shit, I'm sorry. I just, stepped on the neck of your queen here, but this is just my opinion, y'all.
Just my opinion. Well,
I
just your
posted
opinion.
Just my opinion. I mean, y'all know this. I put her at like number 10 on our Divas ranking, 10 out of 16. She's just not my favorite. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. As someone who put her as number 1 because I did not understand the assignment, I think that 20.
Do you ever?
No. I'll agree in the fact that I think that 25 is her weakest out of her 3 albums.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that being said, I think that she's still super talented. I just think that coming off of 21, you have such high expectations that you create 25 and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some songs I liked on there. I did like Send My Love to You and Your Lover. Now, granted, it was made by Max Martin, and Max Martin makes everything sound great. I did like When We Were Young. I don't know, but like Hello.
So you liked the ones that were on the radio?
No, and I also like the song All I Ask, which is like track 10. I even knew the track number.
Now I need to look it up because I was like, I don't remember like any of the names.
But yeah, like, I don't know, Hello, Water on the Bridge, River Leah, like they were all just like okay songs. Like
there
were grocery store songs, but not in the sense of iconicness, like Nada Imbruglia's Torn grocery store realness.
I Miss You. I Miss You is a good song.
Yeah, but it's like 6 minutes long. Who has time to listen to that? I'm just saying.
I have plenty of time. No, yeah, I'm excited for Adele to be back. I really like her voice. I really like Adele. I'm excited for her to be back. But yeah, no one should be that upset if you don't like an album. Who cares?
Yeah, I think maybe it's just because everyone was so. Oh, what?
Well, the only person that I get nervous about is when people say, "Oh, I don't like Beyonce." Right. And I'm like, in what way? What don't you like about Beyonce? Right. Because I do think that I think that it is an undisputed fact that Beyonce is one of the most talented people of all time. So if you do not like Beyonce, to me, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Right. Like you have to give me a reason. Like if you say like, oh, well, she's overhyped. Well, that's not really on her. That's about her fans. If you say like, oh, I just am not a huge fan of her music, but she's very talented. I'm like, okay, well, that's fair. You don't like everyone has different tastes in music. That's fine. Yeah. And it's okay that you're wrong. And I think that to me is something, and it's similar with Dolly Parton. You can dislike her music and say, I don't like country music, and say she's not a good actress. You cannot deny that she's a good person though. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I kind of got off topic there, but like if someone says like, oh, I don't really care for Adele, I'm like, okay. Right. Well, and that's also kind of like why I'm a little salty towards 25 too, is because when you bring up Adele and Beyonce, like at the Grammys, Beyonce was up for Lemonade, one of the greatest albums of all time, versus 25. And once again, a Black artist who created a masterpiece gets overshone by her white equivalent who just sold more, basically. Well,
That's just my hot
and
take. That's just my
yeah,
tea. That's just my
no,
taste.
no, that's fine. I agree. Lemonade should have won. And that'll probably be. That was definitely the moment that I went, oh, fuck the Grammys. But I think that it was such a weird thing because then people were writing think pieces about like, oh, Adele should have given the Grammy to Beyonce, and I'm like, and
Well,
then
that
you have
wouldn't
people who
change
are
anything.
right, and then you have people who are like, well, if she would have done that, it would have been performative, and I'm like, it's all performative. Like it's literally performance. Like they're being awarded for their performance.
Mhm.
So it's just all whatever. Like what you like. I don't care.
Just don't take away his Instagram. That's all he cares
No,
about.
I will lose my goddamn mind. Can I just add something really quick here with the Can You Keep Up?
I guess.
It wasn't on the outline, but can we just like have a brief moment about Drag Race UK Series 3?
Sure.
Can I just say, don't send
What's
hate to
happening?
anyone. I just want to say, don't send hate to anyone. And spoilers ahead. I don't like Crystal Versace. I don't like that queen. She's young. Speaking of young people, I don't like young people. No, I'm just kidding. But
Ageist.
no, but she's like 19. She says she invented tits. She's saying that she like is like doing something new with drag, but she has like such a bad attitude. I don't like her attitude. Her makeup looks like every other Instagram model's makeup. She's not original. She had a fat joke directed towards Victoria Scone that I understand that they squashed. I will go on and on, Josh. Yes, I will. I will go on. Don't check that watch. Don't check
She's
that wristwatch.
ugly. She's stupid. I hate her.
I never said that she was ugly. But but I'm just saying, if this season becomes the Crystal Versace show, it will become Drag Race Down Under. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It'll become one of the worst Drag Race franchises.
Yeah, as of right now, like season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK is like the 21, and Crystal Versace season 3 is like the 25. We're just like,
she just needs to get out of there. I'm not into it.
Yeah,
I'm not into it.
No. So Kyle doesn't like young, beautiful, talented queens is the wrap up for that.
Well, we don't like things that we see in ourselves. So yeah, I would agree with that.
And now onto the heart of our queer agenda. We are going to be giving you 5 little movie reviews of queer horror movies that we have watched over this past weekend. We're going to fear and queer ourselves, but we're also going to give you options of where to watch these movies in case you want to watch them yourselves. Because let's be real, Halloween is great. It's an unbiased opinion. Halloween is
true.
great.
I'm wearing a Halloween t-shirt right now.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. It's so cute.
Thank you. I got it from Walmart. Support local.
Small businesses.
Small business owners. Yeah.
And anyway, so we are going to give it a Fear to Queer to review, and hopefully you guys watch it too, because spooky season is all about watching great movies, and I do think that horror movies should include queer people more because they definitely liven it up.
Well, and I just think that queer people are scary.
That too. They're terrifying.
Hence, Fear the Queer.
Right. Which we always thought too. We're just like, I wonder if people thought that we might be a hate group with that title.
We're not.
Right.
I hate heteros. So
I hate Adele, so it's okay.
Wow.
JK.
This was now you're transphobic? JK Rowling? Now you're bringing up JK Rowling? Oh no. My God.
No, JK.
You heard
Simmons.
it here. Nope. He said the F word, the F slur, and whiplash. Oh my God.
Right?
My God.
He's a pro-lifer in Juno. Boo.
Wow, Josh, you only support these terrible people. I don't know what to say. I wasn't ready for this discussion. But you know what discussion I am ready for?
Mm-hmm.
The horror discussion. Yep. Yeah, horror movies. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get on to our first list here. I'm just going to be listing them in chronological order of when they were released here. So first up on our queer movie review is a small little slasher film called Hellbent, released in 2004, and it was written and directed by Paul Etheridge Oots. And no, that isn't, yeah, no, I'm not saying Oots, it's Oots.
There it is.
I think it's French, I don't know. Anyway, marketed as the first openly gay slasher film, the film follows Eddie, Chaz, Joey, and Toby around West Hollywood as they're being stalked by a beefcake killer in a devil mask and a sickle. And then as they're going along their Halloween night, going from circuit party to circuit party, you know, poppers at one, ecstasy at the other, their lives slowly become more and more endangered by this psychopath who seems to be killing off beefcakes. Let's get into it here. So openly marketed as the first slasher gay film, it was okay. It was all right.
Now, granted, they were really hell bent on making it the first gay slasher.
Yeah. But I'm just but it, I don't know. I mean, granted, it was made for like, it seemed like $2,000. Like the budget was very low here. It was okay. I wanted more. No.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sign of when it was made. Because what was it, 2004?
Mm-hmm.
I think that if it was made nowadays, it would be a little bit, I don't know. I don't know. It was like watching, it's like Queer as Folk it meets with like a murderer. You know what I mean? Like
so Queer as Folk.
Oh yeah, there is that. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Uh-huh.
Basically, it just, I don't know. And of course, like it wouldn't be West Hollywood. You wouldn't be a West Hollywood gay if there wasn't a Toby.
Right. And Joey and Chaz and Eddie. Like the problem that I had is just the fact that like for something being like the first like gay slasher film, I guess it just goes to show that like what people thought of like acceptable gay back then, which is just white gay men. Because there is no person of color in the movie. There was no lesbian. The white gays use the T slur a couple times throughout the movie. And it just kind of goes to show just like what was even considered like edgy at the time. It's just like, oh, white gays are like the future of, you know, which I'm just like, oh, honey.
No wonder it took so long for us to get gay marriage. Right. They're like, they don't deserve to get married.
Right. Now, granted, one of them was cute. I will give them that. I think it was.
Well, Chaz. They're not going to cast uglies.
Well, no, but like most of them were like, I couldn't tell who was Toby or Joey. Like I was just like, well, I don't know. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But Chaz was the one who was. Back then, they wouldn't have this term, but he definitely would have been pansexual today. He was the cutie, and unfortunately, he doesn't last very long. Spoiler alert. In this movie, I don't know. I just wanted more. I wanted more. I hate to say it, but like queerness. That's the PC word I was going to say here.
What is the un-PC word?
I was gonna say I wanted more like faggotry, basically. Like I wanted like the killer to be.
We can say that. That's okay.
Oh, okay, fine. You know, Kyle trademarked that for Fear the Queer.
Yeah, faggotry is okay to say if you are part of the community.
The community theater.
But if you're if you're community theater Matt Damon, you should not be saying that.
No.
Which his daughter told him. So
right.
We're all good. It's okay.
Right. Exactly. I don't know. What did you think of it?
Wasn't into it. Here's my thing. I think. Well, I'll say this. I think that I think most of these movies on the list are more like slasher thriller films or like suspense movies than they are like horror, scary monster type things. Not most of them.
Yeah.
So I think I like kind of like more monstery ghosts stuff. As opposed to just like murder. So it's fine. I think it's a product of its time. I would be interested in knowing like what other people think of it. Because just because I'm not super into it doesn't mean that other people wouldn't be.
Right. No, I was gonna say like ultimately watching it today, it's not like it's a product of its time. You could tell that it's just a little outdated already. But I do think it is quite telling to say that in 2004, someone went out of their way to make and market a slasher film for gay people.
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe it just needed like a better budget. Maybe it just needed like more people who were able to help on it, because it's the concept is there. The execution was just a little to be missed here.
Right, like a gay slasher film about going to like a circuit party in West Hollywood on Halloween.
Right.
It has potential, I think. And I'm not like pro you need to have a big name star in order to sell a movie. I'm not that,
You wanted
but
Sarah Paulson.
but I needed something. I needed something,
Yeah.
some sort of gay person from 2004, whoever who was around. I don't know.
Oh, Alan Cumming, maybe like as the villain. That would have been great.
Or Alan Cumming as like an MC of the like gay party that they're at like
That's
the
true.
club, like like give him a part. You need to give, I don't know. But if they only had $2,000, which I don't know what they spent that on because it doesn't look like it. But
Right. Take a sip of your coffee.
it was very much a okay, dress up like you're going to a Halloween gay party. And they're like, we
Right.
got this.
Right. Another thing
Like
that I will
I've had more scary moments on a Halloween parties just going to your house than I had with this Hellbent movie.
That's fair. There were some pretty horrifying times at some of my Halloween parties.
You running down the street dressed as Aladdin,
That is
screaming.
like, that's a gay slasher in itself.
It what you tried to cut us.
Right.
You said, get away.
Right. All right. So ultimately, I'm going to say fear it for this particular horror movie.
I'm also going to fear it. But watch it, let us know.
Yes. I was gonna say, I do think that people should check it out only because it's like one of those situational or situations where it's just like, oh, okay, like in history, I guess you could say like this is a timestamp for queer cinema, like the first gay slasher film, Just because the whole
Is this the Stonewall of gay horror films?
is it? No, actually, someone threw the first DVD copy of Hellbent at Stonewall.
So that someone threw the first DVD at Stonewall.
Yeah.
Gay, yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. But let us know what you think. Let us know if you disagree with this, because maybe there are some people who really like this movie.
And you know what? And maybe there are people who worked on the film that would like to talk to us about their experience with it, because Lord knows they're probably not doing anything else.
That is true. It is available to rent on Amazon Prime, which I think you should. I would still encourage for people to watch it, make their own opinions about it. And if they agree with us, then that just goes to show that Kyle and I are right, which is what we always like to hear.
And honestly, and I'm not going to yeah, you should probably go to Amazon and support Daddy Bezos. Because I'm not going to tell people just to like illegally download it. I'm not going to tell you that.
Don't do it.
But don't
Please
do
stop.
that.
Yeah. It wasn't featured on the Pirate Bay at all.
Yeah, didn't see it there.
No.
Ahoy, mateys. All right. Yeah, I fear it too.
Okay. All right, so on to our next little queer horror film. Kyle, I'm going to let you take the lead for this one.
All right, so next up we have a very popular film that I think has come back into our like social awareness in the past couple years, and that is Jennifer's Body. So as many of you know, yes, many people have seen Jennifer's Body. And I think it has kind of come into the echelon of queer horror like must-sees. And for those of you who don't know, Jennifer's Body follows Amanda Seyfried's character. I forget her name. And Needy, Jesus Christ. See, I thought you were calling me that.
I was.
And you would be the Jennifer. And her friend Jennifer, and they're very close. And Jennifer's played by Megan Fox, who in Hollywood did her dirty, but she's having a comeback. Hello. And
just showing up to places.
As she should. She's fabulous.
Right.
Bisexual icon.
Yeah.
And Jennifer is sacrificed and becomes a succubus and starts eating boys.
Mm-hmm.
And she's into girls too. So, there's that.
Yes. Yes, for those of you who do not know, this film was written by Diablo Cody, directed by Karen Kusama, I want to say. And so, I would say Jennifer's Body was released in the wrong year. Or
I think it was ahead of its time.
Yeah. It has aged very well in terms of both the dialogue, the themes it represents, the qualms against, what white band hasn't sacrificed a virgin to try to become famous? Like, let's be real. I'm sure Maroon 5 has killed many people to become famous. How else do you think they stayed around for so long? Like,
well, I mean, this love has taken a toll on me. So right. I think that Jennifer's Body is definitely a must-see for people. Yes. I think it's a good representation of like queerness, like high school queerness, if that makes sense.
Where you're just kind of like figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like a very feminist movie. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like Jennifer's Body plays with a lot of ideas of sexuality, especially like female sexuality, that you don't get out of even movies today. You really don't get like an authentic viewpoint of what it might be. So yes. They're great performances. It's probably the best thing Megan Fox has ever done.
Yes. I would argue, yes, I would say that.
Yeah.
It's crazy too, just like how timely, especially like when it started to have a resurgence, which I feel like was a couple of years ago, like during like the Time's Up Me Too movement, like because again, like calling out powerful white people who have again probably used a lot of female bodies to try to get ahead in their career, like that just sums it up perfectly of kind of the overview of what Jennifer's Body was trying to critique against. And and I think see, Megan Fox is so iconic in that movie. I call her Jennifer, just like
yeah.
Megan Fox is great. I think she's a great villain. I think there are so many like great one-liners that Diablo Cody like threw in there that back in 2009, teenage boys probably wouldn't have gotten, but today it's just like, nice one there. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have like a small hot take with this movie. Okay. I really like Jennifer's Body. I don't love Jennifer's Body. Like, I feel like a lot of people have really rallied behind the movie over the past couple of years of being like, oh my God, this is like a horror essential. This is like one of my favorites, blah, blah, blah. Which I can see. I don't think I would ever put it in like my top 10 or even 20 favorite horror movies. But that's just...
Do you think it's entered the realm of camp?
Yeah. I think it started out as camp.
But I don't think people realized it was camp.
That is true. I don't think
I think that they were like taking it so seriously, and that's probably why it did not work for a lot of people. But I feel like between just like feminists and the queer agenda, I feel like people have kind of taken it and been like, no, this is amazing. You need to watch this movie. I say just take it for what it is. It's not life-changing, but I do think that it is a great critique, like you said, on especially white men, using women's bodies to get ahead in life. And what this movie does is it takes that, and yes, Jennifer, the succubus, is a villain, but she's also like this powerful...
I want that to be a drag name, Jennifer the Succubus.
Jennifer the Succubus, yeah. Jennifer the Succubus. She is technically the villain, but at the same time, it's also this really powerful moment of her dying and coming back to just take out the men who ruined her. Does it get out of hand? Yes, it does get out of hand.
And I will say,
I think it's great.
And one thing I do think that Jennifer's Body did great at, that I think Promising Young Woman copied years later, is the fact that the white men that they feature in like either villainous or victim roles are all people who were at the time kind of like internet boyfriends in a lot of ways. Like Promising Young Woman, you had Bo Burnham and Adam Brody. Adam Brody also is in this movie.
I was gonna say Adam Brody makes another appearance. Maybe Adam Brody is just the internet boyfriend who is wronging women. I don't know.
Right. I was gonna say he's really great at taking on roles like that. But there was Kyle Gallner and Johnny Simmons, who I know were both very popular, like teen idol boys at the time here. So it's just great casting all around. Amanda Seyfried is a little underrated in this movie. I think she's great. She's great.
She does a great job, and she was coming off of doing Mean Girls, so I feel like
Mamma Mia.
And Mamma Mia. So everyone who is cast in this movie were very much like the it people of the time. And I don't know. I think that it should be given more credit that it was much more aware of itself than people treated it as such. Like, I will say, when I first saw it, I was like, I'm trying to remember, I was a teenager, so it was like right when it came out, and I remember being like, it's fine. But you know, you look at it over a decade later and I'm like, holy shit, no, we weren't ready for it as a society.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we just hadn't had those discussions yet, and we didn't, I think, as a collective, we weren't talking about like feminist ideals. We weren't talking about men in power. We weren't talking about women's sexuality and taking control of their sexuality.
Or being punished for taking control
or being punished for it, right? So I think now that we've had that discussion, I do think that it should be kind of up there in the echelon of like, I do think it should be within like this is a must see.
Yeah. No,
now, just because I love it does not mean that other people don't. So I'm going to queer it.
I'm also going to queer it. Because I don't like absolutely love the film doesn't mean that I don't really enjoy the film. I queer it.
Yeah. I think I appreciate it from like what it's done or what it tried to do for its time, and now years later what it is. I appreciate it for that, as opposed to like, oh my god, it's the best movie ever made. I'm like, I like what it's done.
Yes, agreed. It is available to watch for free on IMDb TV. Too many letters, way too many letters for me to spell out here. But all you have to do is just watch it with commercials, which, I mean, again, if you were a kid like me growing up, a lot of times you did watch movies on TV with commercials. It's not that hard here. It's great. It's free.
Oh, you're going to brag that you had a TV? Okay. Rich.
Right. Didn't you have a cell phone?
Anyway, so the next movie that we're going to be talking
Yeah, so this next movie we're going to be talking about is from 2013, and it is called Stranger by the Lake, which was written and directed by, let me get this right, Elaine Guiardi? I don't know. Also, I will say, other than Jennifer's Body, every single queer movie that is on this list has been written and directed by the same person. I think that's just quite telling here. Anyway.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So Stranger by the Lake stars French actor Pierre Deledanchot as Franck, a gay man who often spends time at the local nude beach cruising, which, I mean, hey, we love cruising beaches here. There's none in Chicago, though you probably could argue that Hollywood might be sometimes.
Well, there is actually now I've never been, but there is a cruising area over in the Montrose Bird Sanctuary.
Not hooking up with the birds. Oh my god.
Not the birds. No.
What tippy-hedra nonsense is this?
No, I wish someone was tipping my head right now. What? I don't.
Oh, what? Anyway.
I don't know.
So Franck often runs into his friend Henry, played by Patrick de Socampo. This is Portuguese, so I'm not really sure how to pronounce it here. Anyway, so those two tend to have a lot of time being at the beach. Franck, who is a highly attractive man, hooks up with a bunch of people on the beach. Henry, though a lovely person, has some self-doubts and doesn't really do that much, other than just being the gay best friend of the gay lead character. But one day, both of them suddenly find a new person named Michelle, played by Christophe Pau. And Franck and Michelle are immediately enamored with each other. There's like this like interesting moment where they both like hook up and they like flip fuck, which I think is like a telling on their like power dynamics as a couple. But as their relationship starts to get deeper and deeper, men are slowly starting to become murdered at the beach. And Franck is now wondering, who exactly is this Michelle and what's going on here? Let me just say, this movie is wild.
Well, Michelle, my belle.
Right. This is not an American film, which I am really thankful for here because there's just a lot to unpack here. I think it's a great telling of like the dangers of cruising and the risks that gay men once put themselves through just to be able to hook up or to be in, I guess, a safe space with one another to be able to do something like that, which back in the day was the only thing that you were able to get was like dangerous cruising sites. There's this great sense of mystery involved with this movie in the sense that like you're 99% sure that Michelle is a murderer, but you're also kind of enamored by the danger that he represents.
So you're like, ooh, Michelle murdered this pussy.
Right.
How do you say that in French?
Right.
Bussy.
Right. And it's just like, it's interesting because I feel like queer people often put themselves in somewhat dangerous situations to be able to hook up with one another. That's been like a long history of that. And to have it be played out in a movie that preys upon that is kind of interesting. That's my...
Yeah, I find that interesting too. I also think that there is something, I mean, the French are much more open with their sexuality to begin with, but still within like queer, it's still very queer, and very gay. And this was at Cannes. This was up for what's the French Oscars? The like Plume de Flume, whatever.
The Plume de Flume.
The Pouf de Flume.
Are you talking about Caesars?
Yeah, Caesar's Palace. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we should totally stab at Caesar. Yeah, it was up for that too. So it's like there was a awareness of this film outside of just queer audiences, which I think is like really cool. Something that I think is interesting, and maybe I'm just reading into it. Now, what's his name? Henry? Or Henri, or whatever you want to call him.
Henri.
So I don't want to comment on people's looks, but they want him to be like the kind of insecure type, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
like let's just say they basically wanted to play like the fat, frumpy, insecure friend. Yeah.
Yes. And I just want to throw out there that I think that when people start to get murdered, it's the frumpy ones. It's the ones that are, and it's kind of like othered. And I think that could also be a social commentary on the queer community, especially the gay men side of the LGBTQ plus community, because it does feel like that if you are not a certain type of cis gay male muscle body, it's like, well, who cares? You can be murdered. And you're not valuable when it comes to sex, and you're not sexy, and you don't deserve to be sexualized, even in these spaces such as like gay cruising nudist beach.
Somehow he's still like on the outside.
Exactly. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, I this isn't something I would not watch this with my mom.
No.
I don't think this is something you should watch with your parents. But
this is definitely like a sit by yourself, like with the lights out type of movie.
Right. Yeah. It's but it's beautifully shot. It's beautifully shot.
Yes, there is a great, this won't spoil too much, but there's a great murder sequence that happens, and it's shot from far away. So you basically just see like all these beautiful sunsets of like the hills and the lake and the moonlight reflecting upon it here while someone's getting killed. I'm just like, this is like gorgeous, but also unsettling. Oh, see, as you can hear, Dino is very unsettled by it all.
Yep. Even the dog is like, oh god.
No.
He's like, put on Charlie Brown Halloween. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Right. It's a great little horror film. It used to be on Netflix for the longest time. I used to see it up on my queue all the time. Unfortunately, Netflix has become homophobic and turned it down. So you're gonna have to rent the movie on Amazon Prime now. But that's okay, because
that's all right. Is there a stranger by your lake?
Apparently, my dog is freaking out right now, which I'm not exactly sure why here. But I'm just
Well,
going to
you
assume that
brought
they're
up
just rushing to rent it on
they're
Amazon.
rushing to rent it. I think it's just because you mentioned gay sex, and he was like, I have to witness enough of that in my house. And as a heterosexual dog,
Right.
I am an ally, but I will not do that.
I'm an ally, but enough is enough.
Oh my god. Can I completely divert for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when I was walking to get my Trenta Starbies,
Mhm.
not sponsored, there was, speaking of allies, there was this really attractive guy, and he was like wearing like workout clothes, and he lifted his shirt up to like wipe his face, and he
Oh.
had, and you saw very nice belly button, but he had the lines
Oh, the
pointing
V's.
down, the V's, and I was like, such an ally.
You're like, murder me.
I was like, such an ally. You can murder
Yeah.
me by the like, no, but like,
After
yeah,
we just critiqued like the what it feels like to be othered in your own community, where you're like, you can murder me.
I am the othered. I would be the one being murdered.
That is true. At this queer gay lake, apparently, yeah.
It's where hopes and dreams go to die. But I would not put it in like a. I just had a brain fart.
It's not a true horror film. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Thank you. I was gonna say, like, when I was talking about in the beginning how it's not necessarily like a lot of like monster horror. It's more of a thriller suspense slasher, and not even a slasher, I would say, but like, you know what I
No,
mean?
it's one of those movies that just slowly unwinds into something that you're just like, what's gonna happen? And like that tension of just like, I don't know what's going to happen is what makes it scary, but it's not like a balls to the wall like slasher film where
I
gay
mean,
men are
there are
being killed.
balls to the wall, but it's
There are plenty balls to the wall in the movie. I will say that.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you just need to, sniff some poppers and relax and enjoy the film.
And eat a cake, Lita Dunham.
I will never get over her saying that she did poppers once and then she ate an entire cheesecake. And
Right.
the look on Andy Cohen and Dua Lipa's face, we're just like, what?
Like, oh.
It was, and Lena Dunham has done some offensive things, but that's when I knew that, speaking of allies, she was not an ally.
Not a true ally.
I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I queer the film. It's again available to rent on Amazon Prime. I think that it is a very thought-provoking film that I think takes some time to like take in, but it's worth the watch for sure.
I also queer it.
Yeah. Okay. So on to our next film. We are now at 4 out of 5 here.
Ooh, we are just flying right through.
Yes. Kyle, would you like to discuss this fourth film for our viewers, listeners?
Well, let me just say that I love a movie that sounds like my name but isn't my name. And the next movie up is going to be called Lyle.
Lyle!
And Lyle, Liza, wow,
Yeah.
Lyle. And Lyle stars Gabby Hoffman, love Gabby Hoffman, as a soon-to-be mother in a lesbian relationship. We love lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
And her partner move into a new apartment building, and she's pregnant. They already have a little girl named Lyle. And Lyle. And they move in, and spoiler alert,
Yes.
Lyle dies. Lyle falls out the window. You kind of have to read between the lines. They kind of explicitly say it. And then Gabby Hoffman's character, Leah, I believe is her name. It's Leah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leah, she starts to think, okay, there's something wrong with the landlady, the woman who showed us the apartment. And this woman's like in her like 50s or 60s, and she's pregnant. Her tits are lactating, pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And
pregnant.
Mm-hmm, and then weird things start happening. The best way I can describe this movie is lesbian Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
It's like very Rosemary's Baby. It's very close to how Rosemary's Baby goes. In similarities of like moving into a new apartment, the weird next door neighbor, being pregnant. There's a little bit of Satan-y things going on.
You don't know who to trust.
You don't know who to trust.
Also, shout out to Michael Shea, who randomly starred in the movie.
Yeah, like he just like pops up like for 15 minutes. But I think that it is a great, like I watched it. It's an hour and 4 minutes long. It's like super
it's basically
short.
like a TV episode.
Yeah, and so you can watch it really quick. And even though I say it's like lesbian Rosemary's Baby, I don't think that you need to watch Rosemary's Baby to understand the references or like what's going on. Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Josh, what did you think?
Yeah, again, everything about it I love. There, like everything that you love about Rosemary's Baby is included in the film, basically. So that means Roman Polanski is not a part of it. There's such great side characters that you can't trust, but at the same time, they're kind of like iconic in a way. Like the landlady is just batshit insane, and she clearly is not pregnant, but she's trying to convince everyone in the apartment building that she is, which is why Lena, is that her name? No,
Leah
is kind of like, what's going on with this woman here? Like there's literally a scene where she's out in the hallway, she peeks downstairs and she sees the landlady Karen, and she's walking around her shirt, and it looks like she's lactating, but it's clear that like she did it herself, and she's walking around just being like, well, I can't go out like this.
And you know what's so funny is when Josh was like, oh, you have to watch Lyle, Josh goes, you're gonna like it, the landlady reminds me of you.
I would totally do something like that. Just wander around their
just
hallway,
to try to get the attention,
like this,
just to get attention. Or like she, like a delivery person comes to the door with like packages for her, and she's like there with a giant stomach, and she's just like, I can't lift anything. I'm 5 months pregnant, and she's like, what? She's like, what are you doing? What?
Yeah. It's like 5 months
great.
pregnant. The baby is like this big.
Right. It's a good time, I think.
Yes,
yeah, it's fun.
It's a great film. It was written and directed by Stuart Thorndike, and it's available to rent for free with Tubi. Now, we've already talked about Tubi before on this channel, but I do think Tubi is actually a very nice app to have here. You could download on your phone, you could put it on your TV, you can even log in through your laptop at home. All you need to do is just make a username and password, and they give you free movies. All you have to do is just sit through a couple of commercials. And with Lyle, since the movie was only an hour long, there was only one set of commercials that I had to sit through. So it's pretty easy. I queer it. I actually think this movie is essential queer film watching, in my opinion. Out of all the films that we have on this one, I think this one's the most essential.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it'd be a fun thing to do, like watch Rosemary's Baby and then watch Lyle as like a palate cleanser, because it's like not that I love Rosemary's Baby, but like as a like, oh, this is like I see what you're doing here. To me, it feels like a very nice homage to Rosemary's Baby. I'll say it one more time. Rosemary's Baby. Take a shot.
Rosemary's Baby. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna queer it too. Let us know what you think, and if you fear it or queer it. Yeah, I queer it.
Yeah. All right. Now on to what is up with our pets? I hear Evie crying in the background.
Is Evie crying? I have no noise canceling headphones. Evie. She's meowing. I mean, I don't mind her meowing. She's just talking. Every time I hear her go meow, meow, I say it's the song of her people.
Right. Yeah, that is, she's trying to summon Satan, and you just interrupted her.
Sorry, girl. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways,
sorry, Dino.
Yeah. Next movie.
Yes. So we are now on our fifth and final movie. It is called B&B. It was released in 2017, written and directed by Joe Ahern, and it stars two British men named Mark and Paul, who are played by Tom Bateman and Callum Woodhouse. Now, the premise of this movie is that they are a British gay couple, and they want to get away to a bed and breakfast. So they travel to this like small little kitschy thing, and the owner is homophobic and highly conservative, high religious, and he turns them away, and he's just like, nope, you are not welcome into this B&B. So of course, Mark and Paul what's the word I'm looking for? They sue his ass and they win in court. And then for whatever reason, 1 year later, they just decide to go back in an act of defiance, which me personally, I would have just been happy with the settlement and been like, okay, going on to another place here. But for whatever reason, they wanted to go back just to shove it into his face. But when they get there, things start to get really weird. Things start to get creepy. And then they have to start fighting for their lives to survive in this B&B. I don't know how to think of this, but I know that you have a thought on this.
Okay, I have thoughts. First of all, not to be that person, but their names are Mark and Fred.
Mark and Fred. I'm sorry.
But there is a Paul in it. Paul is the son of the homophobic B&B person, and Paul is gay.
See, there's too many people, too many names. I don't know.
There's a lot of people. I think the movie is a bit overcomplicated. I think the best part of the movie is the dark-haired British husband. I thought he was very cute. I thought he was very sexy. But it was, I think they overcomplicated it. Basically, I think they added this character of like this like Russian where they were like, okay, is he gay? Is he not gay? If he's not gay, he's Russian, so he's going to gay bash us.
Right.
And there's like this, yeah, there was like this like element of like the Russian had like night goggles and he was like a peeping Tom or something. And can I spoil it?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So like spoiler.
Don't completely spoil it, but
I'm not okay. I won't completely spoil it, but I'll say that things get complicated and there is a murder and the B&B owner and the gay couple have to come together to try to cover it up. But towards the end of the movie, it just gets way too complicated with like a he said sort of thing, and like, oh, I murdered him because of this, but then I'm doing this to you because of it. Was just too, I think they overcomplicated it. I think I would have just stripped it down really nicely and not even have the lawsuit in the beginning. Because to me, I feel like the whole idea of like, oh, the gay couple did this lawsuit and now they're like going and basically trolling this like homophobic Christian B&B owner. It's because I feel like that contextually gives you the idea of like, oh, well, then they deserve what's coming to them. And I don't like that idea. I think it would have been much better to just get like scrap that whole thing and have them be like, oh, we have to go someplace. Oh, there's this B&B here. And they get there and then he's like, I'm homophobic. You can't stay here. And they're like, well, it's within our rights. What?
That's just how he introduced himself.
Yeah.
I'm homophobic.
I'm homophobic. You can't stay here. It's against my religion. Blah, 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 blah. And then they still end up staying, but then he's like bothering them and like creepy things start happening in the B&B. I think that would have been a stronger movie. And then maybe the son comes in and maybe the son is actually the one who's an issue. You know, like I feel like they could have made it so much stronger than it was.
I think the problem that I had is that every character in that movie had like main character syndrome. So like everyone had too many, like everyone had a motive behind what they were doing. And because of that, I couldn't tell like who, I guess like what message are you trying to put across here? Because I'm just like, am I supposed to be like rooting for the gay couple? Because to be honest, I don't really like them either. Because again, they're trolls. But I obviously don't like the homophobic owner either.
Right.
And so it's just like, is it just saying like everyone's awful? Is that the point of this movie?
Right. It was really hard to tell like what the movie was trying to say. I was like, okay, well, I guess that's that. I was not super into it, but so I'm gonna say I fear it.
Okay. I also kind of fear it. I fear it in the sense that like there was nothing about it that seemed revolutionary. And you know, again, with the premise of what they had here, a gay couple being turned away by a homophobic owner of a B&B, and then they have to come together to solve this murder. You would think, oh wow, that sounds interesting, but
yeah,
it was too complicated. I didn't care about them enough for them to all have major motivations throughout the movie. And then it kind of was a letdown at the end. Like, no spoilers of what the ending is.
Well,
But it was
the
a
ending,
letdown.
yeah, no, the ending. Okay, people watch it, because it's only like 90 minutes long, but
Yeah.
and available for free on Peacock.
Hmm.
Just
Or Tubi.
all the apps, or not to be. But I get it, to be or not to be.
Uh-huh.
It's funny. So is it pronounced to be?
I would assume so. Tubai?
Okay, to buy. Ah, well, no, it well because assistant Brandon said that it was Tubby.
Oh, Tubby. Oh, maybe. I mean, I
Why
just
would
think
it
of
be
like,
Tubby?
I don't know.
You
Oh, I
said
think of
Tubby,
like,
didn't you, Brandon? You said Tubby yesterday. Was that a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a
uh,
joke.
I don't know what it's called though. Tubi?
Tubi.
I think it's Tubi. See? But also like YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, this is a whole nother episode right here. It's just how to
A whole
pronounce
nother episode
Tubby.
of how to pronounce the Tubby Tubi
Yeah.
or the Tubai.
Or the Tubai.
It's a wonderful vacation destination. I
I
heard.
was just saying,
Very
I would
rich.
love if it was Tubai.
Lots of oil money there. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we just gave you 5 queer horror films to check out this
I
spooky
just put up 10
season here.
fingers. You're like, I just did 5 queer horror films and I put up 10 fingers. Great.
Spirit fingers.
Spirit. Spooky.
Spirit Halloween fingers.
Hey, my basement's been empty for a long time. So yeah, there's a Spirit Halloween down there in the Coochie area.
Right. All right. So check these out. They're, again, all available on to either rent on Amazon Prime, or there's free on either IMDb TV, Peacock, or to buy Tubby. And let us know what you think of it, because I love the fact that there are so many more horror films coming out that are based around, queer themes, queer people. And another thing that's great about this too is the fact that, like, just because they're also like with queer people doesn't mean that they have to be great movies either. Like, some of these movies are trash. Like, we can have mediocre, trashy movies too.
Yeah, sometimes because things are queer does not mean that they're good.
Wow, at me next time.
At Josh.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are queer.
Yeah, so we're going to put up a little poll in our Instagram stories. Let us know what you think of these spooky movies here, or let us know of your favorite other spooky movies that you want to recommend to us.
Especially if they have like queer themes, if they have like LGBTQ themes, like be like, this one, you guys should talk about this one. And we'll say, thanks for telling us. We probably won't, but thanks for telling us.
Right. Is it available to watch on Tubi? Kyle.
We're sponsored now.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Tubi. That being said, Kyle, we have a little cool announcement to make here. We are going to be doing another little project for y'all soon, featuring the one and only star.
The Edelweiss and Euthanasia are coming back.
Yes.
For a nice little spooky post. So keep your eye out for that. And you can always find us on Instagram at Fear the Queer Podcast if you want to see the full range of Edelweiss, Euthanasia, Fear the Queer, Josh and Kyle things happening.
Mm-hmm.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Fear the Queer Podcast.
Yeah.
And we have a Twitter, but we won't be on Twitter. That's okay.
Which is funny because we were literally just talking about like how Facebook and Instagram like rule too much of the world, and the only ways that you can really contact us are Facebook and Instagram. Just saying.
Well, you can slide into my own personal DM on Twitter. I'll be there waiting.
That is true. And yeah, I was gonna say, if those go out, I don't think you really have any way of contacting me. I don't check my emails, and I'm not on Twitter. So
carrier pigeon.
Right. Hey, it's fine. Sometimes I have to be left alone. But anyway. As always, I'm Josh.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're Fear the
Queer. Bye. Ooh, bye.
Now I really want to know, like, is it Tubi? It has to be Tubi.
Dear Mr. Tubai, show us free movies.
Thanks.
Thank you.